Welcome back, everybody. Right, let's have a look then. I know I've already made one video today, but just an update as to what's happening and what's going on with both Bitcoin and Matic. So earlier on, what I should have said, that the last few days since we've had this pitchfork in, it's been quite a useful tool for us to kind of let us know roughly where we're going to go, where the supports and resistances are, and if we break out of this, then we go bullish and maybe basically be bull mode until at least we get to this descending trend here, or we finally basically slowly trickle and dribble our way down into the pitchfork. Obviously going down to the next level might not look much, but it's actually quite nasty, you know, from the price where we are right now. Well, let's just measure it from the wick, which is basically that area there to where that would be. It's a 3.5% move to the next stage, right? So that might not be much, but people thinking that today's drop was significant, it's not really, like 2% or something like that. But either way, what we've got here is a nice pitchfork, and it's more or less, I mean, it's not perfectly accurate. It looks like we're being front run ever so slightly, which is fair enough. And to be honest with you, it might just be me in the way that I've put my pitchfork in all fairness, but it's reasonably accurate so far. There's more than just the pitchfork in play. There's moving averages in play. Obviously the green 50 is clearly playing some role in this support and rejection, but basically what we've got here is a trend, and a trend that I'm quite willing to follow largely, so long as everything continues to look bearish, and at the moment it kind of does. And I made a video going back maybe 3 weeks now that I was saying I think we're at the start of a downtrend, and now the downtrend does appear to be playing out. What we really need to do now is make another lower low, which we don't have yet, but we just got lots and lots of lower highs, sorry. So essentially it is a downtrend. Now we can break out of this at any time, but at the moment it doesn't look like we want to. And actually, from this area here, it was a signal. You know, might not have been the ultimate signal, to be honest with you. If you were to go, I suppose, putting sort of leveraged shorts on, because we had this big super liquidation wick here. But other than that, and that's all that was. That's a continuation there from the baseline conversion line telling us let's go down, let's continue down. So I think we're going to continue down. These conversion baselines are diverging away from each other even more now. We're in the middle of the cloud, and when we come out of this cloud, I imagine that there would be a reasonable drop as to probably take us down to around about 7,700. People call in on, I mean, I should get off Twitter really, but you know, I see a lot of people calling 7,200. I suppose that's possible. Let's have a look at the reason why that might be. So what happened at around 7,200? Supports and resistances around here, and I suppose this is where we broke out, technically going a super turbo bullish from this big drop that we had. I don't know if we'll ever get down to that level, and if we did, we wouldn't stop there. I think we'd make our way down to 6,600, and so I'm going to say 7,700 for what I would consider to be a bottom, but that we're showing pretty significant strength around these levels, around 9,000. When 9,000 goes, well, technically it's not 9,000. If we look at this bit here, on my pitchfork, it's not 9,000 exactly. It's just below 9,000. The wick took us down to 8,944. The top side of this resistance would be 8,971. So, you know, a few quid here and there difference. Basically, it's the support isn't 9,000. The tangible support is just below by about $50 or thereabouts. So, and also, I mean, there's no coincidence. It's also the bottom of the Bollinger Band as well. So there's no real arguing with it there. The Bollinger Band is slowly moving down, but because the price action is still quite tight and these drops aren't significant yet, the Bollinger Band isn't going to stretch too much with these little drops like this. What we need is to pull ourselves down into this lower range here. the slower it takes for us to move down, the more chance there is for us to break out of it. So I'd feel more comfortable holding more shorts if we were to actually break our way down into the towards the centre of the pitchfork. So let's have a look at Matic then. So Matic is basically bringing ourselves back into that I suppose danger range. This blue box area here goes all the way back to significant supports and resistances throughout time. Coming down on our first parabolic run over here, we found ourselves bounces along the way here, bringing ourselves out, sort of holding around about in that area here, being rejected from it here. This time just launching straight through with no problem at all, but then resistances here, breakout here, supports, and again recently so I suppose supports, and candle body closes. So this area is the area to hold. If there's any chance for it to make another run, it has to break or stay in here and break up above it. Breaking down from here would actually be pretty nasty for Matic. And recently, these last few days, we've wicked it, we've wicked it, but we've look at all our candles, they've closed within it. And I know that that's a reasonable sized range, to be honest with you. What is that, about 10% or so? It's not even that. 7%. So that's not much for Matic, but it's still a large range, so to play around within. But breaking down beneath it, we've got this 200 exponential holding us up. We wicked from it there, and that again has always played a big role for Matic, because it's not a very long chart, you see. So ever since we've got the 200 exponential on the daily, it's been a relatively strong indicator of supports and resistances. So launching above it here, coming back down and closing above it on this death stick, and then being rejected from it here, rejected, and then finally getting back above it again is always good. Coming down to test it here and here, launching from it and breaking down from it is deadly. And again, not a great deal going on here, but clearly it's doing something here. So would I want to buy Matic at this point now? Not given what I'm expecting with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin will drag the market down with it. Now, I know that altcoins, especially ones like this, don't necessarily trend with the market, but I think it will trend down if Bitcoin decides to go down, 3% or more, 3.5%, then I think what we'll find with Matic is that it will probably take us down significantly. If we close beneath this area here, we could be looking at areas of around about 1.55 is what I'm thinking. Where was this area here that we launched from? That's 1.5. I'm thinking around 1.55 is probably the area to find a tangible bounce. But the problem, obviously, when you're looking at the daily chart here, is that all these moving averages here, including the Ichicloud cross, they're all fast approaching a downtrend. They're looking quite steep. If you go to the 4-hourly, what we have is already a death cross from back here, and they're all plummeting down beneath us. And look, these moving averages are going to be beneath this trend soon if we don't pick ourselves up now. So it's not looking good for Matic. I think we're going to find our way down there, and this area will be broken. So you could argue that you could buy here because you're at the bottom of this, what technically would be a support range, but it'll be a deadly trade. So I'm not a financial advisor. It's not financial advice. I just think that this coin is likely to have a decent future, and now that a lot of its fundamentals are in play. But for now, there's not really any coin that's likely to have a decent future while Bitcoin looks like this to me. But again, we'll be able to chart Bitcoin out and work out the health of the market with Bitcoin. Now, another interesting thing, and I'll just check on my phone because I don't actually have the details up on my computer, but stocks have been rallying. Let's just see. They've continued to rally. So the FTSE's up, the Nasdaq's up, the S&P's up, everything's up, but Bitcoin continues to go down. So I know that I and lots of other people, and it's true, they are tied into each other. They're not decoupled. But if they're rallying and Bitcoin's actually going on a downtrend, that's not the best coupled situation, is it? If for whatever reason those markets start to go down, and this has been my theory when I made that video last week about, I suppose it was a bit clickbaity, but about a 2k Bitcoin, that is still, possible. It's not very likely, but it's possible, because what I'm saying is that if stocks are rallying and we're downtrending, if let's just say we downtrend and we do make our way down here and stocks continue to rally, and we're still in a downtrend, when those stocks finally reach their top, because they will all have a top. You see all these companies going bankrupt left, right and centre at the moment, and this second wave is almost certainly going to happen. You can argue that the first wave has just dipped and we're still in a continuous mess of I live in the UK, and no one seems to care anymore. No one actually gives they don't care. And America appears to be exactly the same way, and that is the world's biggest economy, and when that starts to suffer, everything's going to start to suffer, and I think what we'll find is another one of these. I'm not joking, I think we'll find another one of these. Fed looks like it's pumping money in, maybe even to stocks, which is something they shouldn't really be doing. And I don't think they're actually definitely doing that, but I think they're doing something clever to get away around it. And there's lots of tricks up the sleeves of governments all around the world to kind of support that. But there will come a point where they'll have to try and narrow the gap between the fake economy and the real economy, because the bigger the gap, the larger the collapse, if it ever comes down to it. So what I'm saying is that I would expect them to start to top at some point, and they'll have to, because the economic reality is going to start to set in, and the economic reality doesn't look very good for anyone really, unless you're China. So I'm very wary of that economic downtrend anyway, and that will just enhance this. I don't think that when it comes to Bitcoin, that Bitcoin will rally and they start to go down, especially if they start to crash. That will also happen with Bitcoin. So that 2k Bitcoin that I said, as unlikely as it is, it's not impossible. I'm not saying we're going to get down there. Like I say, I just want to clearly say that my first opportunity to find a bottom is going to be around 7,700. See if that holds. But you've got to look at the wider aspects. With the rest of the economy, you've got to look at all of that at the same time. It's easy for me to say that Bitcoin could bottom here because that's what the chart would suggest. But the chart is bigger than this chart. There's other things at play, and you've got to look at those other things as well. I mean, if there's no money, if no one's putting any money into it, and if everybody's losing their money, losing their businesses, losing their jobs, everything, then it's not going to go up. Do you know what I mean? It's not just going to go up. I mean, all these candlesticks they represent money, and if there's no more money coming into it, and I know you can print Tether like no tomorrow, but if there's no real money going into it, it's not really going to go up. It's only going to go down, like we saw here. That's speculation. Reality might come calling, and that's why I said that there's a possibility of that 2k Bitcoin. But as of this chart is concerned, I'm going to call 7,700 first of all, and 6,600 thereafter. But if that does break down, then these lows we will revisit these lows, and we could quite likely at that point go lower. Anyway, I'll leave it with you there. That's a long way off. Again, that's just speculation. The chart speaks for itself. We're in a downtrend. We've got a relatively stable pitchfork mapping us out, letting us know if we're going to break out of this and go bullish, or if we're going to continue to go bearish. For the moment, everything looks like we've got a handle on it, and we've got a rough direction and trajectory and supports and resistances of where we're going to go. Anyway, join me on Telegram if you've not already. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.